Hey everybody, and welcome to the very last video that is going to be made in my current crafting room before the studio update begins. In this video, we're going to show you how to build this guy, along with a creepy one-shot to go with it. So today's video will be a unique one for you guys, as I'm not going to do a lot about how I built this, just kind of showing you how to build it, and I'm actually going to be detailing an adventure to go with this, a one-shot. I recommend you usually have your players between 3rd level and 5th level for this adventure. So let's cut to the chase. Let's start building this creepy skull tower for our one-shot adventure. So as we start this, I want to go over the building materials that I used. Most of this came from the dollar store, except for the XPS foam bricks. I made those out of pink XPS foam. So what you'll need, as you can see, is a giant foam skull, some Ready Core foam board. You're going to need a can of Pringles from the dollar store, some glue, glow-in-the-dark glue from the dollar store. You're going to need a bag of mini foam skulls, and a bag of mini foam bones, and a bag of plastic hard bones. That's it. You'll want to make a base for the skull with the XPS foam bricks that it can set onto. Do it however wide or as tall as you think it should look. You're going to build up that base enough for the skull to sit on, and glue and secure the skull to it, and then you're going to start building up your tower around it. And of course, by watching this, you're going to see what methods I use and do to do this. But let's start talking about the background of this tower and why it's important to our adventure. This tower was built over, around, and inside of the skull of a colossal titan that has been dead for millennia. And this spot was discovered one day by a necromancer, powerful mage who felt mystical energies radiating from this spot, not just because of the dead titan's skull, but because it was a nexus point. Ley lines crossed over here. And thus, the necromancer began to build this tower. And he dug underneath the skull inside of the tower, deep, deep into the earth, where one would say he discovered the Underdark. When he entered this subterranean world, the necromancer began work on a spell. And the spell drew many, many things to the surface. Nothing evil, nothing vile, surprisingly. Mostly bugs, onkegs, and other things to the surrounding area. He had begun to turn what was a desolate, wasted area of scrub brush and fertile land into a haven for bugs and other animals that ate decay and soil. Over time, the necromancer's tower itself produced fertile soil that was filled with bugs, other things that were great for the soil and the earth around it. And he spread that within a mile radius of his tower. Because you see, the necromancer at work here was not a necromancer of death and doom. While yes, he was a necromancer and death magic was his practice, his death magic was used in the pursuit of encouraging life. As time went on, he began to work on experiments. How to make the soil able to produce crops that shouldn't grow there. How to make crops that should grow there grow stronger. And how to make the animals in the area more, well, like Disney animals, friendly, more productive. Things that would go out of their way to make sure that nature and the land thrived. And one day, in his journeys into what we would consider the Underdark, or maybe you have a different name for it in your settings, he found something. Found an infant troll. Now, the wizard, the necromancer, would normally probably have dispatched this thing because trolls are bad news. But it was young. The question of nature versus nurture came over him. Thus, the necromancer began to take in this troll, raise it as a sort. And over the next 60 years, he would experiment on willingly with the troll until he created a venom troll. Now, at some point, our necromancer passes away. His death leaves that troll with no one, and it vanishes into the Underdark for a while, taking spell books and other things with it. Things that normal trolls would find no use for. But this troll, being a little bit smarter than your average bear, did have use for it. Now, almost a century and a half later, after the disappearance of this necromancer, a village has appeared. A village that one of our player characters should know somebody from or be from themselves. And this village has just started to have a strange string of disappearances. Players will be asked to come and help, or perhaps they're already there. But what they'll find when they get there is the village is going about its normal daily routines. It's a farming village. They have a lot of crops to get ready, a lot of stuff to harvest. And they're getting a little bit scared and worried because a few kids have gone missing. Now, this is an extremely strange or odd occurrence around here. They do have wolves and other predatory animals in the area, and a kid occasionally goes missing. But they almost always find a sign of them, something that indicates what occurred. In these cases, they are finding nothing. Except for the old town butcher. He will have a clue for the party. Now, how the party discovers this can occur in a number of ways. They can hear from one of the distraught people whose child is missing, one of the parents, that they think the local butcher, whatever name you want to give him, I like to give him the name of Randall, but you don't have to do that. But that the local butcher has said he's seen something. But because of the way the town is right now and how distraught everyone is, he's not really pushing what he's seen because he's afraid to upset others. And this should encourage the players to go talk to him on that route. If they go to the butcher, they will find that he indeed does have some kind of strange clue. That when he went looking for one of the missing children, he found strange, glowing goop that smelled acrid and horrible, and he was afraid to touch it, rightfully so, because it was poisonous blood from the venom troll. If they don't go to the butcher route, they can always go to the tavern, and the tavern will have several rumors. It's up to you to lead how many of them won't go anywhere, and to decide which ones will start to lead toward areas of the town that the first children went missing. Some near a creek near town, others near the graveyard that's only about a half mile from that old tower, and some will insist that a necromancer's ghost is kidnapping the children to try and bring themselves back from the dead so that they can continue terrorizing this location. And the last way to get involved, of course, should be from a distraught parent. Perhaps one of the party members knows them personally. Perhaps that parent is a childhood friend, or perhaps that parent is just someone they really care about. Either way, this person will come to them and beg them to find what happened to their child, to bring their child back to them no matter what shape they find them in, and to avenge them. That will begin our quest for our party. Now, you can have this go many directions, but I tend to like the party having to head out into the local surrounding area to track kids, ask kids questions, and to see what's going on. If they start to ask kids questions, some of them will point to a decrepit old cave near this tower. And they'll say that there's a horrible scent coming from it, and they see a giant rat coming in and out of there all the time. Not rats, but an individual singular rat. If they decide that they're going to go investigate the areas, they will find clues that show rat. A rat, not multiple, just a giant rat has been near each of the areas the kids have been claimed to have gone missing. This giant rat, of course, is part of the adventure. This giant rat will be a friend to our bad guy, the Venom Troll. Should the players decide to hunt down the rat or continue investigating the area, they will still find even more clues that start to point toward the Bone Tower, our necromancer's old skull tower. They will also start to find old remnants of somebody else having been in this area before the village, and that'll be the remnants of the wizard. The reason we want them to find some of the remnants of the wizard is so that they understand what the villain is, and that is it's an experimented on cave troll, or venom troll, sorry. Little hiccup there in my voice when I said the word cave. So anyway, once they have discovered, and this is however you want to lead it to, I would personally, like I said, give a long thing, have them chase down the rat, because that's what I like here, is that they discover this rat, they hunt for this rat, and they will find this rat. Now they have two options. It will seem more scared of them than it is wanting to attack or do anything like that. It clearly wants to defend itself against them, but it seems more hesitant. If the party can somehow convince the rat to not fight them or to not run, they can actually talk to it. Any persuasion or deception rolls against it will be very easy, a difficulty check of a 10. It will eventually, if befriended by the party, reveal that it is the one and only friend of a venom troll. And this venom troll wants to become a wizard, because it was raised by a wizard long ago that showed it kindness, and it saw their kindness as weakness, and that should have stayed alive long enough to enslave this area and make all these people that necromancer's willing servant. If you use an insight check on the rat, they will find that the rat is genuinely afraid of its one and only friend, the venom troll. And it's ironic, again, as it is the venom troll's one and only friend. If the party decides that they're not going to befriend the rat, they're going to attack it, it will run away before it dies. Boost their hit points a little bit higher than the average rat, and boost its IQ a little bit higher. Give it a mystical ability, or it swallowed a magical ring, whatever you like, that allows it to actually physically talk. But have it run away if the party attacks it. You want it to be what leads them toward the venom troll, toward the final battle against the venom troll. Now, if they convince the rat not to run away, to talk to them, as I said, it will reveal the following things. The venom troll has the rat and a swarm of bats as its only allies. It's not quite as strong as normal venom trolls or trolls, and it has the ability to cast a cantrip or two. Those cantrips should be something like poison spray and acid splash. Again, as the rat has befriended the party, if this is the case, it will also give them insight into what the troll's doing, like I said earlier. But part of this will include that it has been ritualistically bleeding itself all over the ground in an attempt to poison the life in it and kill everything in the area as part of this strange ritual that it's trying to perform. Spoiler alert, it's not doing the ritual right, and it's only hurting itself. So when the players get to the battle, reduce its hit points by 25 overall. It is already hurting, and it is 25 hit points less than it should be. Because they have about 110 hit points, so you're going to lower them down to about 85 hit points. Now out here on this area, wherever you want it to be. Because I like this to be mainland and then surrounded by some shrubs and bushes and just some stuff so you can only kind of see it over the horizon. But if you want this to be a little bit more difficult for your players, you could set this in the middle of a swamp. So they have to walk through difficult terrain and maybe put in an extra battle for them. It's always kind of fun to have to do a fight before getting to the main fight in this. But if you want this to be a little bit more exploration and the final battle to be the only real fight in this, I wouldn't blame you. So on their way to the Bone Tower, this giant skull that sits ominously in the background, the players should get a little bit more insight into this wizard versus this troll. Now, what I would like to say here is that the players should somehow find old remnants. Perhaps they find the wizard's crypt. And when they go into this wizard's crypt, this necromancer's crypt, they find an old diary. Something the troll would have left behind. Because I think the troll would have raided this spot to get the magic books because it wants to become a wizard. So it would have stole so much from his graveyard, his tomb. For you wondering what I'm doing in the background right now, I'm applying a very light yellow wash over the bones to help give them a more natural ivory look. That being said, when the players get into this tomb, if you do this, you want to give them some info on the wizard here, if they like lore and stuff. They'll find that the wizard did all the stuff I had mentioned earlier. He was more interested in using necromancy and death magic to improve the soil and the land. And inside of this, the players will find that he has a spell for healing, ironically. So if there's a cleric or a magic user, they will get a healing spell from him that is called Improved Healing Touch. This simply increases healing touch from its standard to a D20. So instead of your regular dice, you're going to use the D20 here for Improved Healing Touch. Improved Healing Touch should be a second level spell. In there, they're going to find that he had taken mercy on this troll, found it abandoned, and that it is technically smaller than normal trolls. He'll detail his life, that the point of the tower was to harness mystical energies and that he was trying to create fertile land for farming. He had come from a family of farmers, and because he was potent with death magic as a child, he had to go off and learn how to control his magic and how to master it. And because he was mostly predominantly good with life and death, he became a necromancer. And since necromancy was a feared school, he decided that he would do what he could to make it beneficial to everyone. And that was how he came to be here. And like I said, they will find out that he took pity on the troll, started to raise the troll. He wondered if this would be an experiment in nature versus nurture. Unfortunately, he died long before he could see that it ended up nature and not nurture. There will be clear signs inside of here from the troll breaking in, maybe even gnawing on the corpse of the necromancer, and stealing most of the things in here that were of mystical use or power, and leaving the diary they found that shows that the necromancer wasn't an evil guy. But what I would like to hear is if your players like this, seed yourself an ability to bring back these characters into another one-shot if you need to. So maybe see that there was another mage in the area that wanted to use what he was researching on for evil and, show signs that they tried to get in here, but they were too late because the troll beat them to it. You could just drop that as a subtle little hint, and you never have to go or expand beyond that until you want to do another adventure. Then you can expand upon that. But otherwise, that's an optional thing here. If you're wondering what's going on in the build right now, I'm putting down my PVA water glue mix because we're going to get ready to put over what I told you, the fertile soil. That fertile soil is, of course, just coffee grounds. And yes, I bought those coffee grounds from the dollar store for this. Now, once the players leave the tomb, you should have some options here. Are we going to make them rush right toward the tower. Are they going to confront the troll right away, or do you still have time to thread a little bit more adventure? This is the part where one-shots get a little bit, iffy. Do you want to go further? Do you want to have the players explore a little bit more, or do you want to keep the adventure tight and clean? I'm going to assume you want to keep it tight and clean, so we're going to continue on this, heading to the Bone Tower. Once they leave the Wizard's Tomb, you should have them not accosted, but something very close to it, by bats. The bats aren't going to make any attacks toward them. They're just going to keep swarming around and reduce their movement speed to reduce how quick they can move. And then, of course, you should start to have perhaps a little bit of terror occur here. As they walk out and these bats are swarming them and attacking them, they leave. Right? No players are hurt. No one takes any damage. It just reduced their speed. Have some of the villagers run up to the players. They'll be distraught, upset, visibly enraged. The Venom Troll attacked the village directly while they were gone, and it's kidnapped some of the local kids. This should give some urgency to the players to continue on to the troll in the tower and try to rescue those kids, because they have no idea what asinine experiment the troll thinks it's going to be conducting, but they know that it will not have any result the troll wants. If you're wondering what's going on here, I'm just attaching some reindeer moss to give this a little bit of color to it. Now, once the players arrive, they will have 2 or 3 enemies. One, optional, is the giant rat. Won't take long to defeat him or subdue him depending on what the party wants to do. It is probably much easier to subdue than to kill because the rat really doesn't want to fight or die. The other one will be toward the top of the bone stairway, toward the ladder that leads to the top. And that will be that swarm of bats. That swarm of bats is there because that is the one of the few things the troll has learned to command, has been bats. Ironically, the rodent has too high of an intelligence level to be commanded through magic like that. It gets a saving throw, but the bats didn't. And at the very top of the tower will be the troll itself, the Venom Troll. Again, reduce its hit points by 25% if you want to reduce its AC a little bit, but otherwise I'd say leave it the same. Have the characters fight the troll, and when defeating the troll, obviously, you can wrap the story up however you want, or you can leave a couple of tidbits that you might do another one-shot with those characters. It's up to you. Now, my favorite part of any video is where I get to show you what's going on. So I'm going to let you guys see the rest of this build as I attach this reindeer moss here, and you guys can take a look at how I set up the troll. And as always, guys, if you like this, do me a favor, leave a comment down below on what kind of monster you would have used here, or if you like this kind of use of this terrain, or if you would have used a different adventure for this cool skull terrain. And if you're wondering what's going on right now, I'm adding glow-in-the-dark glue to the ground and sprinkling some coffee grounds over it after I kind of throw some water isopropyl alcohol mix there to it, to indicate the bleeding the troll was doing all over this ground, as I had mentioned earlier. So again, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I apologize for the delay, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. So please, give me a like, share, subscribe. I hope you guys get to building this and build something awesome.